If you are sitting in your house and asking yourself any of the following questions: how do I study abroad? What do I need in order to study abroad? Or where do I start from to study abroad? Then keep watching this video, because in it I am going to give you an action plan that will take you from sitting and asking all of these questions to coming up with a to-do list. So grab a pen and a paper and let's get started. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sylvie. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. So in 2014, I received the MEX Japanese Government Scholarship. In 2016, I was the third runner-up for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. In 2018, I received the Yala Scholarship. And in 2021, I was awarded the Clinton Global Initiative Fellowship. So now I work with students one-on-one. If you're looking to work with me, feel free. There is a form in the description box. Fill it up and I am going to get back to you. So now let's get started with your action plan. So action plan 1. What do you want to study abroad? It is extremely important that you decide what are you going to study. High school students, what will you want to study for your bachelor's? Bachelor students, what will you want to study for your master's? Master students, what will you want to study for your PhD? And maybe PhD students, what will you want to study for your postdoc? It's extremely important that you determine what you would like to study, because that helps you have a sense of direction on what you are going to be doing abroad. And you may be thinking, well, I do not know. Well, a good place to start is, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? That is a good question that they always ask us, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And although, yes, there is that, which is, to be honest, is really, really cliche. Another way that you can be extremely strategic when you think about what you want to study is, get to Google. Do a quick search on jobs of the future. That is a keyword that you put into Google. What are the jobs of the future? Or you ask Google, tell me the jobs that are going to be relevant in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 50 years. And what is Google going to do? They are going to give you a list of replies. And then you can start looking at it and asking yourself, what skills do I have? Or what are some of the things that are interesting? And a good thing that you can do at this particular time is make a decision where you can actually switch majors. I know that for some people it can be a daunting task to switch majors, but let me tell you something, everybody. We live in an extremely fast-paced world. It's so fast-paced that the things that were relevant when you were studying, probably when you started your bachelor's program, 4 years in, 5 years in, they are no longer relevant. So you also have to be flexible to switch majors. That is being strategic, you guys. And one of the reasons why it's extremely important to be strategic when you are picking majors or switching majors is because what is the world interested in, or whatever it is that the world is interested in at that particular period. If you are going to be looking for scholarships for that particular program, then you're going to find money. If you say that you're going to be studying something that the world is not interested in, I am going to go out of a limb here and I say, let's say, literature. And literature students, please don't come at me. But I'm trying to think of, we live in a very tech world where so many tech skills, UX, UI, and graphic designs and content creation and artificial intelligence, robotics, those are the things that are like moving the world in this day and age. And a lot of money is being put into these fields. So now you start asking yourself, if you are going to want to get a scholarship when you apply for that study program, take literature on one hand and artificial intelligence on the other hand. Which one do you think they are going to give you money to study? The chance that they are going to give you money to study this artificial intelligence is extremely higher. So I know that it can be a daunting task to switch majors, but think about it as a strategic move to make yourself relevant in this fast-paced world that we live in. And now, action plan 2. Where do you want to study? It's extremely important that you have a sense of clarity on where you want to study. And here you're deciding both the university as well as the country. And when we talk about the country that you want to study, you can just do a quick Google search on top study destinations for the next year, and they're always going to give you a list. Cliche. It's always US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. It's like the ranks this list every year, and then only these countries go up and down. And it is okay for you to study in any of these countries. But most times when you're thinking about studying abroad, in your action plan, you also want to think of, first, where is the best place to study your major? Maybe if you want to study something with reference to engineering, maybe Germany is the best country to go study that. If you want to study something with robotics, maybe Japan is the best place to go study that. If you want to study something business related, maybe the US is the best place to go study that. So this is really going to depend on your major. And another thing that a study destination should depend on is part-time jobs. First of all, in this particular country that you want to go study, how many hours do they give international students to work, you guys? Because trust what, you guys, you need money. You need money. You need money. Living abroad is extremely expensive. Studying abroad is extremely expensive. And even if you have a scholarship, or even if your family can afford it, given hours where you can make some money on the side is always going to give you some maybe money that you can have in your pocket, or maybe just take care of yourself. So look through which countries, what are the rules with reference to part-time jobs in that particular country. What can you do? Do you work on campus? Do you work off campus? What is the payment rate of all of that? You can consider that as a factor when you choose which country you are going to study abroad. And then the next thing to consider in the countries list is culture. Listen, you guys, culture is extremely important, and sometimes the culture in a country can be so different from yours that it can be a daunting task for you to probably acclimatize in the environment. That was the case for me. I come from Cameroon and I decided to go study in Japan. That is a huge change. You're going to be better for it though. Trust me, at the end of the day, you are going to be better for it because you're going to grow as a person. But also, if it's a country where the cultures are not that different, maybe you may have like an easier time acclimatizing, or just check yourself. Are you a person who easily fits into new environments, or are you a person who struggles? If you fit in, then go wherever. And if you cannot, then probably choose countries that the culture is a bit similar to yours. And then the last thing that you want to consider when you're choosing the country to study is, what is your long-term plan? Your long-term plan is extremely important because take, for example, the UK. When I think it was Theresa May that was PM at the time, what used to happen was that when you studied in the UK, international students, once you're done, you're out. Like they are reminding you, like, exit, exit, exit. So if your long-term plan is to live in the country, work a bit there, it's extremely important that you choose a country that lets students work after their studies. Gives you a chance for you to switch your visas from student visa to working visa. Or they can give you some time. For example, in Japan, they have this 6 months period where they give you to search for jobs, and then it is renewable once, another 6 months. So you have this 1 year period that you can use. They provide you like a visa. You can use that period to search for jobs. And then if you want to work in the country, you will stay in the country and work as long as you get a job. But some countries do not look at that. So it's extremely important that you think about what is your long-term plan. But also, this is very different. Yes, Japan gives you this, but take a country like Canada. There are students that went to study abroad the same time as I went to study abroad. I went to Japan, they went to Canada. Today, they have permanent residence in Canada. And I'm in Japan and I'm like, oh Lord, what do I do? What do I do, right? So your long-term plan is extremely important. Look at it, and then through that, you pick the country where you want to go study. Now, let us talk about your major. What is the best university to study that particular major that you want to go study? Universities are extremely important, and this is a good time also to do the research on what is the university, what is the department, who are the professors in this particular department, and what research are they doing, right? So be strategic in picking where you go study, the university. And also, if I don't know if you all have realized it, but in many scholarships, especially if you're going to be looking for scholarships at some point, in many scholarships, they always ask you the question, why this university? Or why this particular scholarship? And if you have already done the research on the university, the department, the research that they do in that department, what professors are there, what papers they have published, it makes it extremely easy for you to be able to give a backup reason on why you are choosing this particular scholarship and this particular university. So action plan 2, decide the country that you want to go study and decide the university where you want to go study. So now let's move to action plan 3, which is the funding. You have to decide. Of course, think about your family finances and everything. Are you going to be a privately sponsored student, or you will need funding from somewhere else, a corporation, a foundation, a government, or wherever else you are going to need money? For those that are going to be privately sponsored students, you have to sit with your sponsor, your family, or whoever it is that is going to be coming up with that particular money, and do the research about how much is the tuition and the fees that are required for you to study, how much are the books, the accommodation, the insurances, the cost of daily life in that particular country, and also the proof of funds that you need in the bank. For example, Germany, I think that you need some block amount of, I don't know if it's 8 million euros. Is that the amount? I don't know. But different countries have a different amount of proof of funds that you're supposed to have in the bank, okay? So make sure that you sort through all of that to see whatever it is that you're going to need to ensure that you can self-sponsor yourself abroad. And I know that this is not for everybody. And for students who have low grades, where you cannot afford scholarships, or you can afford, like your family has the money to be able to afford it, it can be like a daunting task. But when you do this research, my counsel to you is go for it. Even if you can actually cover all of this amount just in the first year, go for it, and then keep all your money, like the proof of funds in the bank, right? Keep all of that because it needs to do. But if you can sponsor that first year, go for it. Why do I say that? I say that because, for example, in my university, international students actually have options to apply for tuition waivers per semester. For example, sometimes you do your application and they give you 80% tuition waiver, 50% tuition waiver. And also, while in that country, you can have access to do part-time jobs. And believe me, you guys, there are tons of corporations and foundations that offer scholarships to students that are already in the country. So if you can come up with it, if you don't have the grades to apply for scholarship and you can afford it, go for it. Go for that first year, travel, get into the country, and then while you are in there, you will be able to sort out your second year and your third year, because you'll be getting money from working part-time, applying for scholarships, and everything else in between. You will be able to afford it. And then there is the other hand, all my people with high grades who can get scholarships. I said it already. You all know I have gotten 4 fully funded scholarships. So watch this video here, and I tell you, I break it down to you. How did I get 4 fully funded scholarships? What did I learn? And what can you take from my strategy that I used to get these 4 fully funded scholarships and get your own fully funded scholarships? So go watch this video. I am not going to dwell into it. So it is 2 things. Figure out the funding. Are you going to be privately sponsored, or you are going to need a scholarship? Right, so now let us get to action plan 4. Preparation exams. If you want to study abroad, you need to sort out your exams. GRE, SATs, TOEFL, IELTS, all of these preparatory exams are extremely important. And the crazy part is that when we search for questions that students who want to study abroad are asking, the questions y'all are asking are, how do I study abroad without SATs? How do I study abroad without GRE? How do I study abroad without, what's the other one? Without IELTS? How do I study abroad without TOEFL? So many of you ask these questions. And there are some scholarships, there are some universities that are actually going to let you get in without writing any of these exams. But my counsel to you is, this is a channel about study abroad prep, and this is me giving you an action plan to prepare you to study abroad. So my counsel to you is, please write these exams, especially if you're thinking about applying for many universities, many scholarships. Have these exams written and keep them, because you don't want, my argument is that you don't want to get to, so you see some amazing opportunity where you qualify for everything else except you don't have one document. Just imagine how you are going to feel when you have everything and then the only thing you're missing is one document, and that prevents you from applying for a particular scholarship or getting some particular opportunity. So please do not let that happen to you. Get those, all of the documents, get them ready, because you don't want to let an opportunity pass you by because you didn't get it. So I am going to ask a question, because you all are asking these questions a lot. How do I study abroad without this? So let me know, what are you struggling with? Let me know in the comment section, what exactly are you struggling with? SATs, is that what you're struggling with? GRE, is that what you're struggling with? TOEFL, IELTS, is that what you're struggling with? Just let me know in the comment section, and I will reply you with pointers to resources. And most of these resources are like past questions, where they like tell you what the students of the past, what they have asked in the past, and then you can now use it to do your preparation, and then you can now go write any of those exams. So let me know, what are you struggling with, and I'm going to reply to you with pointers to some resources, so you write those exams, because that is how you prepare to study abroad, you guys. And now action plan 5 is immigration. You will have to get through immigration, right? So my first question to you is, do you have an international passport? Do you have anybody? Do you have an international passport? It's extremely important that you have your international passport, because that is how you get ready for the process. Getting an international, I know that sometimes you may be thinking about it as, oh, what if I get a passport and then 2 years, 3 years, if you all watch my video on how like learning my strategy to get a fully funded scholarship, I was rejected for 5 years, and throughout this 5 years I had an international passport, and my passport expired. I had to make a new one. So I understand if you may be thinking about it as, oh yeah, but why do I make a passport when I actually do not have an opportunity yet? That is actually a fair question to ask, but the thing is, you have to stay ready, because some opportunity may come up where you do not have a lot of time. But if you had already gone through the process, had your international passport, and you kept it handy, you will just be able to dash out. So please have your make your international passport, and also check through like immigration. What are some of the questions that they always ask you? Mostly at immigration, what they are trying to do is they are trying to verify, to make sure that what you told us here is the same thing you told us here, and then it matches with what you told us here, and then it matches with something here. They are trying to connect the dots, and if they see any broken links in the middle, they are like, especially this is actually for those that are privately sponsored students. If you are a scholarship student, you don't have any problem, baby, because when, for example, in my case, when I got my first fully funded scholarship, which was the MEX Japanese government scholarship, I had no business at immigration. The only thing I did was I went to Japanese embassy. I collected, they were like, this is your passport, your visa is stamped, everything's ready. I flew into Japan. I went to immigration. I showed them, this is my passport, visa stamp from the embassy, and I am a scholarship student, and all they did was welcome to Japan, right? So, but when you are a privately sponsored student, remember they wanted to check, do you have enough funds in the bank? Do you have enough money for tuition? Do you have enough money for this? Do you have enough money for that? So they had to verify all of those things to make sure that they all tie in and that you did not lie here or your story is not consistent and all of those things. When they realize that there is some inconsistencies, that is where they actually start to trouble you a lot. And also check your flights, you guys, because most times flying out of your country may be the first time. It may be not necessarily a daunting task, but it may be something that you're new to it. You have to prepare for it. You have to stay ready for it. So get those things ready. Prepare your flight ahead of time. Remember that when they say it is like let them say your flight time is at like midnight ... 00. Don't think it's the next. Don't come like the next day. No. It is actually like Tuesday on this time, not on Wednesday on the other time. Okay. So please do not miss your flights, and welcome to Studying Abroad. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you all so much for watching. I am going to see you all in the next one. If you have not subscribed to this channel, do it to subscribe. I'm going to see you all in the next one. Cheers.